Hi, I'm with Adam, who is sitting under a lovely blue sky in the south of France, not in rainy London. And we just had a brief conversation around the reality that health is probably your greatest asset, not wealth. And we were talking about one particular activity that, Adam, you do that helps you to manage your well-being and state of flow. Are you happy to share that?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, just a very brief bit on myself. Uh, I'm the operations director of Martin's Rubber Company in Southampton. It's a 150-year-old manufacturing company in the rubber industry. We make high-value specialist parts for aerospace, defence, Formula One, those kinds of markets. And it's a family business. We've been running it for 70 years now. As a result, its own unique pressures, and anybody who is involved in family business will appreciate that, as well as anybody who's involved in manufacturing in the current climate will also know how tough that can be.
Indeed.
So what sort of gets me away from those kind of pressures is motorcycle riding, and specifically off-road motorcycling. I've ridden motocross for many years and at a very sort of junior club level, but nonetheless, it's always kept me physically fit or given me a good reason to be fitter than I otherwise would be. And the bit that we've talked about is flow. And for me, being on a motorcycle on an off-road track is the point in my general life where I have to concentrate on one thing only. Otherwise, I'm going to get physically hurt if I'm not looking at what I'm doing. So you can ride a 20-minute race, or if I've done something like a rally raid for 6 days overseas, you have to concentrate fully on that and nothing else. And it's funny how, having got your brain away from the daily and hourly pressure of being in a work situation, you can come off the bike physically exhausted, mentally very tired, but as you recover, suddenly that thing that you've been grappling with in work environment, you suddenly think, I know how to do that now. And your brain has kind of taken that time away from the main problem in your mind, go and somehow process something. And the flow that you've had while you're on the bike has helped you just get away from one thing, and suddenly everything else seems to kind of reboot and drop into place. It's strange how it works, but I've had that experience on many occasions.
Well, the neuroscience explains how that works, and perhaps I'll share a link with this video around some of the work that Stephen Kotler and James Wheal are doing around flow states. And there was one more thing that you mentioned around how you use motorcycling and flow to help you on certain days if you have a difficult meeting coming up.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, I can't, much as I would like to, I can't get out and ride my off-road bikes as much as I would like. But I have also found it, I do ride on the road, although, again, having ridden on road bikes, and I hasten to add, not pocket rocket type sports bike, I prefer more of a sort of a touring type experience. But if you're on the road, you have to be paranoid about other people who kill you by not seeing you even. And traffic is so much more intense these days than it ever used to be. And that's quite apart as well from making a mistake yourself or not seeing something. So you have to feel slightly paranoid when you're riding a bike and really concentrating on road traffic and road conditions, all the other little things. That also gets my brain away from the day-to-day concerns. And what I've found often is that if I've got a difficult day ahead of me at work, I've got a meeting or a presentation or maybe disciplinary or something like that, I'll prefer to ride my bike to work, because I know that I'll arrive at work in a more energized state, with a clearer set of feelings. If I take the car in, it's warm, it's comfortable, you can have the radio on, whatever. But if you take the bike to work, you have to be in case in order to arrive at work safely. And that has also just taken everything down to a much basic level. And then the thing that's on my mind that I need to deal with it during probably the first part of the working day seems to go better, and I seem to be more geared up to cope with it properly. And it's not such an intense experience as riding a competitive event, but it has a similar kind of effect.
I think it's wonderful that you have that awareness, and because awareness is what helps us make different choices, and that you're
Yeah,
using that to manage your state. And I don't have a motorbike. I'm probably not going to motorcycle, but I use. I know that you responded to my ski experience, which definitely was a deeply profound embodied experience. But I use things like
yeah,
I use music, dancing. I mean, I love to salsa dance, and it's when I allow myself to fully surrender in the activity, I can tap into beautiful states of flow. And I, like you, I solve issues. I have creative thoughts. So I think the more we find things we're
yeah,
passionate
yeah,
about and bring them into our daily routines, the more we can benefit from that. So thank you for sharing that and
yeah. Absolutely,
reminding us just how valuable flow can be.
pleasure. It's it's a really tricky thing to work out what works for you. But for me, it is motorcycling. I did try salsa dancing once in a nightclub in Ecuador, and our South American friends were just instantly balletic at it, and there was me and my English friends going, "We're not even going to go anywhere near that because this is just going to be ridiculous." So yeah, salsa definitely not for me. Sorry, can't do that.
It shows you we're all unique. And I think what's come out for me as we wrap up this interview is that we should all stay curious and keep an open mind and stay playful and try new things, because we'll never know what it is that could,
Absolutely.
playing a musical instrument. I was with a client yesterday who has committed to playing the guitar for 10 minutes a day, and that could take him into a state of flow as well. So thank you for that reminder. Thank you,
Yeah,
Adam. Enjoy your time.
life is very short.
It
Yeah,
is, and that's why
life,
we shouldn't give
thank
up
you very much.
our wealth. Thank you.